Hello, everybody! I want to review what's up for the final presentations in media because we have some people that are still confused as far as what's up. Today is the 17th, if you go back. Yeah, to the 15th and the 16th. What are we doing? Pick a fairy tale you like. Compare the original story with its Disney remake. How has it changed for the screen? Which version do you like better? And why? Or compare any book, short story, comic, or graphic novel to its movie version. How do they change it? Which one do you like better? So it's just a comparison. Let's look at something that's come from literature, and then talk about how they made it into a film, and we'll talk about which version is best for us. Compare and contrast kind of thing, right? If you want to compare two movies to each other, you could do that too. The ratings need to be G, PG, or PG-13. Since we only have a few days left, if we'd rather work with paraphrasing than writing a paper from scratch, we can do that, and I'll show you how we've already started on that. And our goals for yesterday were just to decide which movie franchise you want to look at and find at least 3 credible web sources. And I want each team to do a different story so we don't always see the same stuff. So if you look at our choices, some of us have gone with the fairy tales that came from books or stories. Some of us have done books that have been made into movies. Some of us are comparing movies to each other, like the original versus the remake, or 2 movies in the same series. I found a really good piece on the movie Hook, which is of course taken from the story of Peter Pan online. And they talked about the history of the movie, what the author meant when he wrote Peter Pan and all of that stuff. If you want to use something from a YouTube video as a source that you can paraphrase, I want to show you something. This little button that says more, if you click and then you go to transcript, down below you see the words go by on the screen while the person does the talking. So what I did, I grabbed a bunch of it. Remember, if you want to copy something, you can either go edit and then copy, or you can hold down Command C. To park your stuff in Word, you can either go edit and then paste, or you can Command V, and what it does is it will paste everything that you've copied into Word. And this is the paragraph I got from YouTube. This is the transcript of what they've said. Now, if you're going with a paraphrase, the easiest way to do that, first of all, I want you to read the paragraph itself and then do a summary of it. So, what's the point? This is my summary right here. Peter Pan, the boy who couldn't grow up just like the rest of us, isn't immune to waking up one day, looking in the mirror and saying, I've become everything I ever hated in life. So I want to start with that mom joke I've seen all over the internet and go from there. All I'm going to use is the release date of the film, who wrote the play and when. Then I'm going to tell my own version of how Pan turned into Banning, which I do in this paragraph right here. A wise woman once said, sometimes when I open my mouth, my mother comes out. Most adults have felt this at one time or another. What happened to me? I used to be so young and carefree. Now I'm just one big ball of stress and anxiety. It would probably make us feel better to know that our heroes do the same thing. In 1991, Steven Spielberg released a film entitled Hook, where we see that Peter Pan himself had left Neverland, become mortal, then grown up to be a workaholic lawyer with no time for his wife and children, but all the time in the world for his job, which in this case meant clearing a forest to the ground for a multi-million-dollar real estate deal. The movie takes J.M. Barrie's stage play from 1904 and brings it into the current day. Even though you'll see Peter with the biggest, clunkiest cell phone in current movie history, Hook has a lot to say about how we grow older and colder, and gives us some simple lessons about how to become more of the child we wish that we were. Oh, so sweet. So what does this paragraph make me want to learn about the original play if I'm comparing the Peter Pan play from 1904 to Hook in 1991? I want to look at this question. How did J.M. Barrie look at the idea of staying eternally young? And how does the movie Hook look at the same question? That's how I'll compare the play with the movie. And that's the paragraph I'm going to seek out for tomorrow's assignment. So by looking at the paragraph from the YouTube thing, I wrote my summary. Notice what I'm not doing is something like this. Director Steven Spielberg is joined by Dustin Hoffman. Tools. What a lot of us do is we just go through the thesaurus and we pick like the weirdest words possible. So in the end, all we're doing is changing a couple of words. Director Steven Spielberg is joined by so-and-so. No, Director Steven Spielberg is amalgamated by, and then the people. He's going to create the epic fantasy. No, he's going to produce the impressive fantasy, which is, of course, the 1904 stage play Peter Pan, which we've changed to Peter Pot. Yay. That's because we're using the thesaurus. Don't use the thesaurus. Write a summary, and then write your paragraph from your summary. Here, all we're trying to do is change the minimum number of words. That's not a paraphrase. Paraphrasing is when you put something into your own words. I don't want you using the exact words of the author. And the best way for you to do that is to stop asking yourself, what does the author mean? And ask yourself, what do I get out of it? What does it mean to me? And notice, I'm just taking the inspiration from the article and then telling my own version of the story. Don't just change the words. Find a piece that fits what you like, summarize it, and write from your summary. We're looking for 5 paragraphs. Body paragraph 1, 2, 3, and then an intro and a conclusion. I like this so much, it seems to me like this would be a good introduction paragraph. So I'm going to want to find 3 paragraphs that deal with how Pan and the stage play Peter Pan from 1904, how do they deal with growing older? How do they tell us how we can become more of the child that we wish we still were? That's what I'm going to Google for. That's what I'm going to look for. But if I know it in my mind, as long as I can give evidence from the play and the movie, here's what happened, here's how the plot line proves this to us, I can write it. If that's a struggle for me, find articles that support your opinion and paraphrase them. And we'll do a paragraph a day until we're done. That's all I've got. See you around.